is Derval Freeman. I'm an artist and I'm based in County Wicklow where I paint full-time. I graduated from Limerick School of Art and Design back in 1996. 3-4 years now. I've been very lucky to be able to paint full-time here in my studio in County Wicklow. I think the expression and the idea of painting for me is more like a necessity. I'm quite interested in, I suppose, like a lot of people, the idea of existence. In nature itself, there's a lot of reflection of existence within humanity, and when you see like the cycle of things, seasons and all that kind of thing, and the circling of the world, everything is circular. Begin with these kind of drawings that I started out with, where really they began when I was out walking out up in the hills in Wicklow, and I'd do these kind of little sketches, and there's a lot of rocks and, you know, a lot of different terrain and stuff like that. And I think the drawings, I began to really sort of enjoy doing the drawings more than the actual painting itself. Not that I enjoyed it more, it's just that it happened so much quicker, these quick sketches, and I loved the freedom and bringing it back to my studio and going, how can I make my paintings really? How can I make them be as expressive as that? How can I make them as free and almost non-objective in a way? And so I kind of began with the drawing on the canvas and said, I'll do that, and then I add in colour, and they kind of, like, I build up, and depending on the drawing, it really does, it informs what happens with the paint. Every new painting has a whole new set of problems that I have this need to fix, to solve, to organise, which I think is probably what drives me to paint. It's a function of creativity, that it's my way of reasoning out existence and all that, and that whole mind-boggling notion of the universe and where we are in it. Colour itself is something that I've began to really kind of push more and more this year with the whole lockdown situation. It does kind of help to have colour and be surrounded by it. You know, the shapes that happen, like some of them they're controlled drips even, and I sort of work the paint around that. I never really know where the painting is going until I begin with the next stage of it, or a session. When I come into the studio, I just continue on, and I tend to get lost in a world of creating, you know, making shapes, reacting to one shape off the next, and reacting from one colour into the next. I like to bring the drawing back up through as well. I like to have this sort of shaded, shimmery effect. They are quite figurative. They do look as if underwater sometimes. If I get just mind-boggled about things, there is a zoomed out effect where kind of looking into the universe from a distant, far off space. It's just incomprehensible how big our universe is. That really drives me in many ways. I like to use cosmic events that happen along the way as well as influence. You know, they do sort of get in. I like to mark them sometimes by, like, a blue moon, which happened not so long ago, and earlier this year, so many, you know, different comets were soaring our skies, like Comet Swan and Neowise. It's not even about comets, they're not about stars and planets and space and all this either, but I do use the influence of that. I react, I respond. I just absolutely love nature, and I have to be in it. Recently, over the year, I have become more and more in need of just going out and stargazing, just as much as I have the need to go out and go hiking up a hill or just off out and just wander around into the landscape and be surrounded by nature. I feel really like grounded when I look up at the sky and the stars, and like the walk from the house down to my studio down here at night time, although there's a little bit of light pollution from the lights on the road, I do get to see the plough a fair bit because it's just right there. I do gaze up at the sky quite a bit every night when I walk from my studio to the house or from the house down to the studio. So it's always a wonder, and it's always something that I just look up. I just look up. But in my painting, it's layers and layers of different colour that one influences the next, and you know, I mix it in with transparencies that come through, and that mix with other layers of transparencies, changing colours in the cross areas. I love using cold wax, so I make my own cold wax, and I love to use that to make to mix in with the paint to give it a nice thickness, and I love that matte effect, and it gives it a lovely sort of lush, I suppose, almost like, you know, candy feel to it, and I like that too. It just makes me happy to be able to produce and create such colour and in its thickness and candy-like effect, I suppose. It's a play, I suppose, of everything. My paintings are a play of all of that stuff, and it's just an atmosphere that I want to be surrounded by. So I am creating an atmosphere as such, really, and that's kind